What's your take?
Bring back segregation.
100% disagree.
Dead at bring it back. I want to know where I'm not welcome, okay? Put them signs back up. Colors only, whites only. Let's do it, all right? Rip the Band-Aid off. Especially for a restaurant. Are you kidding me? Whites only? What do I want to do in there? What they got? Mashed potatoes? Mayonnaise? Hot dogs? Colors only? We got seasoning. Turmeric. Paprika.
Okay, I like this.
Okay.
You were saying that the black excellence.
Absolutely.
The segregation is to get
The colored excellence.
Okay.
Black people spend over $1 trillion a year. I would love for the government to force us to spend it on our own people.
This is very good.
Yes.
I like this a lot.
I brought you over to the side.
And the black airplane?
Oh, come on. The soul plane, baby.
I want to be on Soul Plane.
Yes, it's going to be noisy on there, but that's what noise cancellation headphones are for. You know what I'm saying?
And they're going to have all the good movies?
All the good movies, all the good music.
Oh, man.
And while we at it, bring back sundown towns. They never left, but...
What's that?
Well, a sundown town was back in the day during Jim Crow where black people weren't allowed to be in a town after the sunset.
Wow.
So those towns never left. They still exist in America, but they took the signs down. I want them to put the signs back up. I wanted to say 248 miles to the next town that likes colored people. Get your gas in Atlanta. Don't stop till you get to Savannah, all right?
I'm with her.
He with me.
Now, when I saw this video on Instagram, I found it to be quite interesting. Now, I know that there are a lot of people who share her sentiment, white folks included, right? And I know there have been a lot of people who have been critical about integration and how life was good for black folks before there was integration. Jesse Lee Peterson being one of those, saying that black folks were thriving. Black folks had the highest marriage rate amongst Americans in the United States. And black folks own their own businesses. And obviously with Martin Luther King having a dream and the civil rights and XYZ, there was a push for this, which a lot of black folks felt like that was a mistake, right? Now, we know about redlining and Jim Crow and all those things like that, where whites only and black folks weren't allowed in certain places, sundown towns, so on and so forth. And you got to think at this point, black folks were only free for less than 100 years, pretty much at this point, right? So you have people that obviously were thriving though, but had skill sets. They built their own homes, technicians, farming, agriculture. A lot of the major things that made America great way back when, that allowed America to thrive, was because of these things that black folks had cultivated here in the States. So a few things I wanted to touch on, because I think that this is an interesting topic and a lot of people really feel how she feels. And one of the things she said, and Dr. Claude Anderson talked about this, if you guys don't know who he is, Dr. Claude Anderson talked about how things were prior to desegregation, right? And how black folks, especially buses, y'all know about Rosa Parks, the buses and the boycott and all these different things like that, but how black folks had their own buses. So you didn't have sitting in the back of the bus and all these things like that. But with civil rights and all the fighting, all the killing, all these other things, was it really worth it? And as she said, the dollar was circulating. And you know, you have some folks saying, well, every time black folks try to start something up, white folks come in and destroy it, and obviously use Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street as an example. I think that is important. Charleston Whitesman, he had sentiments like that as well. As the only time that black folks and white folks should meet is on the ball field or doing sports, things like that. But other than that, everything else should be separated. And it's strange that it has to be like that, but that's how white folks made it in this country, because the white folks are the ones who started this country. So they invented these laws, so on and so forth, and it was things that were allowed. But I want to touch on things in terms of how a lot of people who move to the United States are very critical of black folks, non-white folks to be exact. I'm talking about brown people, Indians, including Africans that move here, Asians that move here. So let's just paint a picture, right? For example, if the United States were, by some chance or some way, shape, or form, were to bring back, and this is what I don't think that a lot of foreigners or a lot of immigrants who come here, they don't think about, they just think about how things are now, right? It's cool to look at things now after all the battles are won and all the fights are won and all these things like that, to say, hey, you people don't take advantage, you people don't take advantage. It's just come in After everything is like, that's like you showing up after the war is done and saying, hey, no, you guys were defeated and you guys fought, you guys are tired, but you guys need to pick yourselves up by your bootstraps and you need to make something of yourself. See, we just came here after all the fighting. I think it would be interesting in another, let's just say, if that was to happen, all the non-white folks that come here obviously are in the same state as black folks, right? You're not allowed to go into these places. You're not allowed to enter these places. And I think you would look at it through a different lens and say, well, we need to, hey, black folks, black American, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about this? And they forget that it's the reason why it's possible for you to thrive, all you folks who are non-black Americans or foundational black Americans in this country, is because of foundational black Americans. And you guys don't think about that, because there's no way you'd be coming in this country without what foundational black Americans did as far as civil rights, and be able to say the things you say, talk the way you talk, and just conduct yourselves and be successful. Now, a lot of people are getting upset now because supposedly the government is monitoring their social media. They're here on visas and they're being deported. You have opinions and rights that you won't even have in your own country, and you're coming here with that stuff because you think it's sweet. All because of what foundational black Americans have done, right? And I think, and this is coming from someone who's biracial, right? And I'm just speaking in an alternate universe or whatever. And let's just say if this happened, we could say if this happened and this happened. Obviously, I wouldn't have existed. But for the sake of this whole conversation, in this universe, this is what actually happened. There was never a fight for civil rights. Black folks were forced to spend their money on their own businesses. White folks had to spend their money on their own businesses. And let's just keep it straight, regardless of them creating it. White folks weren't allowed to patronize black businesses and vice versa. How would the world have turned out, right? Same thing with Indians, Africans, so on and so forth entering here. Would it have been the same? Would people have been able to come into this country and thrive without the sacrifice and the fight that foundational black Americans did in this country? Would they have been able to do that? But yet still, you take it and you look down on foundational black Americans and you say all these negative derogatory. I had a conversation not too long ago, and I heard a woman say that. She was like, this is an African woman now, a Nigerian woman. She said racism doesn't exist in the United States. And this isn't about this this topic is about racism, right? But at the end of the day, she's saying that because she's benefiting from not what her people did, but from what foundational black Americans did. And it's funny how you can come here and say that, but some people just have this mindset coming here that black folks are lazy. And I think, in my opinion, the president we have in office now is one of the best things that happened to black folks in this country. Black folks coming together ultimately, and if this was to happen, have no choice. Black folks will be forced to police themselves. Black folks will be forced to work, build, do all of these different things. I mean, you could outsource, you could hire, but all this other stuff, I think it would be a drastic shift if you were forced to take care of yourselves, right? I think that would be interesting to see that particular paradigm. But just my thoughts, guys. I think it's interesting. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think about this whole thing right here. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Much blessings and abundance. Stick around for the next videos. It's going to pop up on the screen below. That's where I'm going to see you guys at. It's your favorite everything. This is Wisdom. I'm the best. Let's run it up to 1 million. Quit playing with me. Peace.